At Edmunds, we currently own 9 electric vehicles, and today we're going to talk about them.
That's right, Clint. Those vehicles are all a part of Edmunds' long-term fleet, where we buy a car, keep it for a year to see what it's like in the real world, just like you.
Let's get the party started with the newest member of our fleet, the 2024 Tesla Model 3.
The Model 3 is the newest member of our fleet, and it just arrived, so our impressions aren't fully baked on it, but we've been impressed at first because it seems to have fixed a lot of the problems that the old Model 3 had. The interior build quality is better, the suspension has been fixed. Now, this being a Tesla, there are still things we don't like about it. I miss a gear selector, I miss a regular turn signal, but overall, really positive impressions, except for the range, which seems to have gone down a little bit with this generation, but is still a pretty robust 338 miles. So the question then becomes, Clint, would we buy it?
So we thought that question was important, and we asked a bunch of our staff members, would you buy this car again? And we're optimistic on this one. 75% of people said they would buy the Model 3 again.
Yeah, I think that it's made a really good impression in its short time here. We like that they fixed all the problems, and it's frankly a lot better than our Model Y that we bought earlier, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. But for me, it's a definite buy.
Double that thumbs up. All right, moving on from the newest member of our fleet to the oldest member of our fleet, our 2020 Tesla Model Y Performance with 40,000 miles on the clock of almost trouble-free driving. Thing about this car, it is still quick as hell. It's way quicker than you ever expected to be sitting behind the wheel. The range is still decent. We just got 245 miles on our Edmunds EV range test, and that's at the end of its life now, 40,000 miles on the clock. But there's a lot of bad that comes with the good, which mainly results in bad build quality. The back seat rattles like a musical instrument, and then there are a bunch of different parts of the car that join in. The windows rattle, parts of the suspension rattle. This car likes to rattle.
It's also quite possibly the worst riding car ever made in human history, possibly worse than a covered wagon that they used to conquer the Wild West back in the day.
I'm gonna say this, and if anybody on the internet wants to challenge me, that's fine. This is the worst riding car I have ever driven in my life. And now, Brian, thank you. It's exactly what I look like when I drive it. Let's answer that question. Would we buy it?
Our staff, it says no. So we had basically everyone pretty much said no except for 2 people. I think it comes down to that build quality and the problems with the ride. The funny thing is, though, the newer Model Ys that we've tested, so beyond 2020, when it's gotten further down its, build life, they sort of fixed a lot of those. The new ones, they ride better, the build quality is better, and if you don't get a performance, especially, the sweet spot's probably the long range for most people. You'll get plenty of performance still, more range.
The Model Y seems to get better each year that it goes on. So would we buy this particular car? No. Would you put us down for a new Model Y, maybe the new updated one? Yes.
Like 1.5 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Next up, we have another electric SUV that's been in our fleet for a while, and that would be our 2021 Ford Mustang Mach-E. Now, this is the rear-wheel drive version with the long-range battery, so it had impressive range, over 300 miles, but it does charge quite slow, according to the Edmunds EV charging test. Check that out, link in the description. Our time with the Mach-E has really been positive. It's been basically trouble-free.
Borderline boring, but for good reasons.
Actually boring,
yeah,
but for great reasons, and that's, really reliable. People haven't necessarily enjoyed the performance too much, but they've enjoyed sort of the ease of use of the vehicle. Everything just works all the time. No key fob issues. That will be sort of a theme we're going to get into later. And yeah, the Mach-E had a pretty long run with us, and it kept its head down and just, galloped along day after day.
Galloped along, I see what you did there. But the question is, would we buy it again? And the answer is 80% of our staff would buy this car again. So that's a pretty solid thumbs up.
Thumbs up from me too.
Moving on to our 2022 Rivian R1T Launch Edition, aka Clint's favorite long-term test car. I love this thing. I really do. To talk about its life with us so far, it's been another one of those just workhorse vehicles. We had a few recalls at the beginning, but they brought out that mobile service unit. They took care of things quickly. All in all, the maintenance has been relatively low. We've had window trim issues and small things like that, but big picture stuff, the Rivian has been basically bulletproof.
For a startup.
Except for the tonneau cover.
Yeah, but I mean, for a startup, a lot of the other EVs that we've had from startup companies have just absolutely crapped the bed a lot when it comes to reliability. And compared to that, the R1T excels. Compared to a regular car, perhaps not so much, but again, against that startup competition, it really has been a lot more reliable.
I think it's a good point to make. Out of all the EV startups that we own in this garage, the Rivian has been the most solid. That said, the tonneau cover is still presently broken and there is no fix in sight. They haven't reached out to it yet. So
The poll results, despite the broken tonneau cover, overwhelmingly positive from our staff. And if you add us in, I think you can put us both down for yeses. We do have the launch edition, which is the quad motor version.
Motor,
and they do now
monster.
offer the dual motor version. And I think that for 95 to 99% of people, let's say, 2 motors will be enough. You don't need the quad motor, let's say. So thumbs up for the quad motor, but also a thumbs up for the dual motor, which is 2 thumbs up.
I echo what my coworker just said. Yes and a half.
Up next, we have our 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning Lariat Dual E-Motor Extended Range.
Did you have to read that off your hand?
I did. That is a mouthful. And this truck has taken home a bed full of awards from us. It's taken home our last 2 Edmunds Top Rated Electric Truck Awards, and also took home an Edmunds Top Rated Best of the Best Award last year before it got beat by the EV9 this year.
We like it.
We do like it. That's why we keep giving it awards.
Yeah.
What we like about it is that it's really a truck with no compromises. It's just a truck that happens to be an EV and is still really good at doing all that truck stuff. There are some bad things about it. It doesn't charge super fast, and also when you're towing, you lose a bunch of range. But if you're not towing, you can go 345 miles in it, which in a full-size truck is crazy, and reliability-wise, it's been absolutely great for us.
A lot of trucks on the market right now have gimmicks. This truck does not have gimmicks. This is a truck that is going to get the job done for the most part. If you're interested in an electric truck and you need to use it as a truck, this is the one for you. Very
different than the R1T, which does feel like a toy sometimes.
Right. Yeah. So let's get into the important stuff. That is, would we buy it again? The answer is yes. About 60%, a little bit more than that, of our staff would buy this truck again.
Now, if you're asking me, though, personally, I'm probably going to have to give it a thumbs down.
Oh, interesting.
And that's because it's really expensive in the form that we bought it in, just over $80,000. And our Rivian R1T quad motor actually cost less than that.
Yeah.
So perhaps there's another version of the Lightning that I would have given a thumbs up to, but the one that we have, the Lariat, 80 grand steep.
I'm going to say no for a very different and very childish reason. I don't think it looks very good. I think this truck looks very boring, and it's not going to look great in the future. So thumbs down for me.
Are we talking about you or the truck?
Nice. Next up is the BMW i5 M60. Real quick note, this is the only car you're seeing today that we did not buy with our own money. This one we have for a year, and we're going to evaluate it just like the rest of our long-term cars. We gave the BMW i5 our Edmunds top-rated electric car this year, so obviously we like it. We liked it so much that we decided to get the quickest version of the car, the M60, and add it to our fleet. Early days of this car still, but a really strong first impression. It has 593 horsepower, all-wheel drive. It did 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds and an 11.5 quarter mile. This thing rips.
That's also fast.
Yeah.
Poll results for this vehicle, we don't have them because it's so new, so not enough of us have really been behind the wheel of it, but that award is a big endorsement, and for me personally, big thumbs up for the i5. I think it's super luxurious, but also offers great performance and also offers a really comfortable and luxurious cabin for passengers.
This is the car that everybody very quietly tries to reach for the keys and not tell anybody. There's a reason for that.
Up next, we have our 2024 Chevrolet Blazer EV RS all-wheel drive.
Problem child.
Yeah, we haven't had this vehicle very long, but the whole time we've had it, we've had problems. So we got it at the end of last year. It immediately turned around and threw 23 error codes at us. It had to go to the shop where they tried to fix all those errors, software updates. Vehicle's been out of commission. Even though we've owned it for like 4 months, we've probably only had it for maybe a month and a half, so impressions are still a little bit limited. But the fun part is that if you wanted to join us on this Blazer EV adventure, Chevy actually stopped selling them for a bit so that they could fix it, and they only now just starting to resell them again, but they're doing so with a price decrease. And the good news is that even though we bought ours early, they're gonna give us a rebate for the difference. So thank you, Chevy, for some money back, but no thank you for giving us such a buggy and not really working vehicle up front.
I mean, if you follow everything we've posted on this car so far, the logical conclusion is there's no way we could tell somebody to buy one. But would our staff buy one, Brian? Every single person surveyed said no, they would not, except for one person.
So I had to follow up because I was like, there's no way that this person would say yes. And if they did say yes, I would want to know why. And they said that that was because they sort of misunderstood the question, and that their yes vote was because they thought Edmunds should buy it again because we've gotten great content out of it. But what is great content for us is probably not a great buy for you. So for me, definite thumbs down. And for Clint too, I think it's pretty safe to say thumbs down.
Unless you have a YouTube channel.
Or an aspiring YouTube channel. Up next, the 2022 Lucid Air Grand Touring, a vehicle that has been a bit of a roller coaster for us because there are things that we really like about it and some things that we really don't. From day one, the performance and the range have been impressive. Super, super quick, especially for a giant sedan. And it got over 460 miles on the Edmunds EV range test, which puts it second on our leaderboard below another version of itself.
Yeah, the problem is, as good as it is to drive, as comfortable as it is, the interior fit and finish is really bad. We got one of the earliest builds with the Lucid Air, which hasn't done this car any favors.
Yeah, our A-pillars kind of shake. There's like rattles and creaks everywhere. It's just basically not the cabin quality that you would expect at this price range.
For 140 grand.
For 140 grand. But what has been encouraging though in our time with the Air is that the software has gotten significantly better. So it boots up faster now. They've added important features like adaptive cruise control and Apple CarPlay as it's gone on. This is perhaps the path that Fisker would take if they had more time with the Ocean. Lucid's had a bit more time with the Air and a bit more money, frankly, to sort of fix these things. But that being said, I don't think that we would really buy one today. What does the poll say?
Yeah, the poll says that 0% of people would buy them, and we are two of those people. The point is, with the Lucid, this early build, we wouldn't go anywhere near. But that said, newer models, we're excited about the Gravity. Lucid has a chance to get things right in the future, but this car in particular, it's a thumbs down.
2 thumbs.
Next up is our Fisker Ocean Extreme. Disappointment. This car has been a problem since the moment we got it. We just had it recently appraised, and it has lost almost 70% of its value in that very short amount of time.
In 3 months.
The reason is, Brian, tell us the problems.
Well, I don't even know where to start with the problems. When you turn it on, it throws you a brake malfunction. The navigation system thinks that you're in Alaska.
Yeah.
The hill hold didn't work.
Yeah.
The key fob used to not work, but it works now.
Right. That might be enough. That might be enough.
I have more.
Okay, we'll save it for a different time.
Another video.
Fisker as a company we don't even know where they're at this moment, and that is why the price of the car is depreciated so much. Will you be able to buy one again? That's probably the better question to ask than would we buy it again.
Yeah, the price cuts on the new models have basically tanked the value of the old ones. So you can basically pick up an Ocean for a much lower price now. And I think we're going to talk a little bit later about whether we think that's a good idea, but our staff is in unanimous agreement that we should not buy this vehicle, and we would not suggest that really anyone buy this vehicle. And we also wouldn't suggest that you buy this vehicle even at its new low price. Well, Clint, that was a lot of cars.
That was a lot of cars.
I did some math, and in total, this company has spent just over $700,000 on just these EV members of our long-term fleet.
Dang. Yeah, the thing is, we buy these cars so we test them for longer than a week, longer than 2 weeks. We want to live with them every day so we can report and tell you what's good, what's bad, and everything in between.
So to find out even more details on our EV cars or even the gas members of our long-term fleet, head over to our long-term blog where you can find out details like maintenance costs, more impressions, and it'll just give you a really good view on whether or not it's a good idea to purchase any of these vehicles.
Yeah, and if you have a question or a comment about these cars in particular, just drop it in the comments below. And thanks for watching.
It's kind of cool seeing all the cars lined up downstairs. Like, I've never seen our whole fleet together before like that.
It took a long time to move them like that, but yeah, it was cool.
It was kind of like a gathering of the Ents.
The what?
The Ents.
The ants?
The Ents.
I don't...
There's not been a gathering like this in many years.
Don't be hasty, Mr. Simone.
Can I go home now?
You shall not go home.
I told you that'd be good.